This is again our monthly forum for the month of June, and what we've done is we've kind of decided to press on in certain parts of the forum because we want to focus on not the administrative vehicle of the campaign, but the issues, concerns related to politics and campaign. So this is if you are tuning in for the first time, we always say go to the YouTube channel, JMINOR, and yeah, thank you. I see the comments now. There's a lag between my live, like live, and what's on the screen. So thank you all. Um, yep, I appreciate it. I do see comments now. So we ask you to, if you're coming in for the first time, you can go to YouTube, JMINOR50, and tell you all about how I got here. Um, yeah. And we don't want to belabor analytics, but I will say that what we do anticipate that these Tuscaloosa numbers, top left quadrant for our media devices, we expect that location and the percentage of that to get at least to 50 to 60%. Um, we're confident that that's going to happen based on our internal 5% of strategy that we don't talk about on these social media platforms. And really exciting from last month for everybody that signed the petition, that carried out packets to get signatures on the petition. We received confirmation that we have met the requirements for qualification to be on the ballot November the 3rd. We submitted those petitions on April the 20th, and we received confirmation from the Secretary of State, Wes Allen's office, on the 15th of May that we met the requirements for qualification. Super big. We don't have to write in. We'll be on the ballot in November. And again, I'm grateful and thankful for everyone that decided to sign the petition that was in the district. For those that carried out packets, I can't explain how extremely grateful I am for all of those that signed the petition, and we have met the requirements to be on the ballot in November, according to email confirmation that we got from the Secretary of State's office. That's all that I have here. And then what we do want to do is we want to spend most of our time here on the issues, concerns, topics. The main one, first, I will say there is still ongoing litigation with the state Senate maps for Alabama, District 25, Congressional District 26. Those do not affect our campaign. And my focus is really, really, as much as I can, laser focused on Senate District 21. So there's a lot of other stuff going on. There's other people that are advocates and compete and can operate in other spaces, but I'm extremely focused on Senate District 21. So as I look through this lens of all of these things that are at the federal level or the Supreme Court level, I'm looking at this in the lens of how does this impact Senate District 21? And again, the state Senate litigation for redrawing maps, they don't affect Senate District 21. Although they are Senate seats that are in question, Senate District 25 and 26 that are in the Montgomery area. But again, not specific to Senate District 21. What does impact Senate, the constituents of Senate District 21 is the congressional map for House seats. And you can see if you can see the map, one, two, six, and seven. And those affect Congresswoman Terry Sewell's district specifically as it pertains to residents in Senate District 21. So there will be a special election on August 11th. Um, that's where I'll leave this at. Special election. If you're in Senate District 21 and Congresswoman Terry Sewell is your representative, there will be a special election on currently scheduled for August 11th. And what I did want to spend a little bit of time on is we want to go back first before we go forward. And the primary election results, I won't say disappointment. I would say expectations for primary election turnouts always low. If you can see Pickens County almost double Tuscaloosa County, this is specific to Senate District 21. This is uh, my professors from George Washington University would be proud, probably. Anyway, I don't know, but um, almost double the turnout in Pickens County as per Tuscaloosa County for Senate District 21. And what we do with this data for our campaign is we developed a targeted strategy on how we're going to have the most, continue to have the most competitive race in the state of Alabama, probably nationally. And so you see the numbers. Um, the the areas that we're really, really focused on are the ones where there's low turnout. I'll leave my 5% the 5% of the sauce where it needs to be at. But but again, this isn't really art. It's a little bit of art and science. But we're looking at these precincts and we are the refining our targeted strategy and you see the numbers. There are registered voters, way more registered voters in Tuscaloosa County than Pickens County. But although we're not satisfied with turnout, we are really optimistic about the perspective for our race and for us winning in November. And these are the results from the election. All the stars of places where individuals won races. I've congratulated as many of the ones that are going on to either general election or special as I could. The primary, the one of the main issues that was on the ballot for Pickens County was referendum election, and you see the results for what we call the $10 tag tax to maintain two ambulances is how I put it in plain cook and microwave grits language, and passed overwhelmingly 70% to 30% is affirmed as yes to maintain, to be able to sustain the two ambulances that we have, one being on the north side. I'm sorry, not the north side. I call these sides of the river. On the 82 side of the river and on the back side, Aliceville side, the two major corridors for Pickens County is where those ambulances mostly sit at. And nothing else that I really would want to mention here. Again, if there are any questions on any of these as we go, we can, I'll be more than happy to pause on in certain places. Um, but the two statewide amendments, people had asked about those two specifically, and one is Aniah's law, I think is Aniah's law. What the law does, what the statewide amendment does, it allow a no bond for certain arrests for certain crimes, for discharging a weapon into occupied dwelling. And so that's one, no bail for those arrests. And then the other one is if a district attorney is currently in seat and there is a reduction in pay based on a budget that was approved by the municipality or the commissioners that are responsible for that position, then that district attorney's salary won't be lowered while that individual is in office. So both of those statewide amendments passed. And then I think I mentioned this. There's a runoff elections that are currently scheduled for June 16th. One on the Democratic side for Pickens and Tuscaloosa, and then there are quite a few on the Republican side for Pickens and Tuscaloosa. So that's upcoming June 16th. And yeah, looking forward to the outcome of those races. We still look at at turnout precincts to develop targeted areas based on all the data that we can get. I was a intel analyst in the military, which kind of digging in research and numbers and hung around operational research analyst. So I kind of get really excited about numbers and analysis. And so what I will turn to based on some conversations that I have been on the receiving side in conversations out on the campaign trail is conversations about the Supreme Court's decision. And my response, I even got that response today at a church that I attended by one of the pastors. And my response was that specific to, again, my focus is like this, and we're focused on turnout for Senate District 21. And I think I covered this before, but in 2024, the presidential election year was the lowest turnout for a presidential election in 30 years. The 2024 presidential election was the lowest turnout for the state of Alabama in 30 years, 58.5%. What that equates to is there were 1.5 to 1.7 million registered voters that did not vote for president at all. 1.5 to 1.7 registered voters that did not vote for president. More people did not vote for president than the votes that President Trump got for president. 1.462 million votes. And there were 1.5 to 1.7 that did not vote at all. So in our campaign and the conversations that we're having is we're talking to the 1.5 to 1.7 million to determine why they're not interested in voting. We are aware of what the Supreme Court is doing. I said, what do you expect with a 6-3 court? What does history tell you about a 6-3 court? So we're not focused primarily on what the Supreme Court has decided to do with Section 5 and Section 2 of the Civil Rights Act. We're focused on the 1.5 to 1.7 that decided that they were not going to vote at all. Telling the telling the 1.5 to 1.7 that people are taking away voting rights when they didn't vote anyway is going to be irrelevant to probably 60 to 70% of the people that didn't vote anyway. It's just like a person that lives in New York City that has a driver's license but doesn't drive but take the train. If a person lives in New York City and doesn't drive and take the train, if you tell them they're taking their driver's license away, they're going to say, okay. Most of the people that I have talked to are extremely exhausted from political parties fighting. And they just feel like they don't win, they don't gain either way. That they don't get affordable housing either way. That the cost of goods aren't being lowered either way. This is what people are telling us that that they don't benefit either way. If they did, they would vote. So we're working on compelling and persuading the 1.5 the 1 point the between the 1.5 and the 1.7 that didn't vote. We're finding those individuals in Senate District 21 and we're going house to house. We're canvassing. And that's transitioning me to what one of the next issues was, and that was lowering the cost of living. And how do state legislators have an effect on lowering the cost of living and making energy affordable, right? So there's a lever that the state tax can cut gas tax. That could be immediate, could be immediate. There was already a lowering of grocery tax, if I'm not mistaken, from 5% to 3%. That could be lower. But again, if we're lowering or getting rid of taxes, that's less revenues. Right? One of the things that I have said about lowering taxes, if if billionaires aren't paying taxes, if regular Americans aren't paying taxes, then who's paying taxes on the 39 trillion that we're already every day is getting higher and higher. 39 trillion on lowering the nation's debt. If 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 people with a lot of money aren't paying taxes, and if we say regular people aren't paying taxes, then something's going to collapse. Anyway, I digress. So state senators can, the state legislature and the governor can lower or cut gas tax, grocery tax, making housing affordable for people between the age graduation and 45. The quickest way to wealth is through home ownership. We don't want renters, we want owners. The legislature can implement in incentives deductions for childcare. And I've talked healthcare quite a bit. And the minimum wage in Alabama has been 7.75 for quite some time. But that's federal, and we haven't done anything statewide. These are all ways that a state legislator can have influence on lowering costs. And the challenge with that, if we go to the right, the challenge that we have with that, you can come if you have questions, you can start preparing for your questions because this is probably, I think this is the last point that I'll make before I open up the floor, is that the challenge that we have goes back to a decision by U.S. versus Citizens United to allow unlimited money in politics. When you allow unlimited money in politics, the power goes to people with money, and it takes away power from everyday voters. And so we have on one end big business paying big business paying lobbyists. I'm sorry, big business lobbyists are paying politicians. And when that happens, what are politicians obligated to do? So 90% of us are below that line, and the rest of America is above that line. That bar should be a lot higher to represent the upside down triangle at 10%. But what that equates to is when you have campaigns, I got the bar graph on the right. Senator Tuberville has about 14 million to run a campaign, and former Senator Doug Jones has about 2.5 million. And I mean, and if we, I've always, when people, when politicians brag about how money they have to run campaigns, I really say that that's an insult to ordinary folks that are trying to figure out how they're going to pay their power bills every month. Um, but again, that's just me, and that's most of the folks that I'm talking to are really, 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 really. COVID was the impact of COVID had an impact on affordability, and regular, ordinary Americans, folks in Senate District 21, was looking for relief. And now it's just continued to get worse and worse. And so this is, the problem that we have. And so this is, Jody, so what? Is that we've decided from day one that we're not going to take money from big business. We're not looking for endorsements from big business. Actually, if you notice, we don't announce endorsements at all. We are confident in our campaign and our brand, and we want you to vote for Jody Minor because of what you've heard from Jody Minor or from what you've heard from individuals that have endorsed Jody Minor. We are on the ground, on the ground, and we feel that the most valuable asset that we have is time. In addition to the things that make good candidates, that's what we feel like we have on our side. And I think that that's what we had for forum. There's more slides, the events that we completed last month. Really busy month for the month of May. We anticipate as we go into the summer that it's just gonna continue to get busier and busier. And we feel, again, we talked algorithms up front. We feel like our activity is on the algorithms with Tuscaloosa County will increase tri triple and quadruple within the next 3 months or so. All events, we had a really exciting time going out to the different polling locations, at least 30 feet away from the building. There were folks that were interested in why was your name not on the ballot from Alberta to Liberty to the places that we went to. The feedback we got calls, messages. We didn't see your name on the ballot, and that's exciting. And we're telling folks make sure that you let people that you know that will be on the ballot in November and that you can vote for either party or candidate. If you vote straight party, if you don't vote straight party, if you vote Republican, if you vote Democrat, if you vote independent, or you vote no dependent, to vote for Jody Minor November 3rd. And to let your folks in Tuscaloosa County and for Tuscaloosa County, let your folks in Pickens County know that we'll be on the ballot. And we're always grateful for the ground crew, the folks that take out their precious time to campaign for us. As we go into the summer months, we're looking for volunteers from within precinct areas to help out with on the ground activities. So as we get those dates, we'll push them out. But in any form, whether it's a prayer, whether it's keep going, whether it's the personal messages, whether it's the $10 in the mail, I am extremely honored to have your support to know that it's going to be the most talked about race. Um, I don't say that because I'm running a campaign. I'd say that because we have internal metrics, we have internal numbers, we have ways of signaling how to, if you're playing poker, that you would want to put a little bit more money in, and certain things happen based on what we see, and we say yes, 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 and we haven't seen a no yet. But we're grateful, we're thankful for all of the support, the individuals that says that you got my vote. So you got my vote, you got my family's vote from wherever it is that you live at, from Lakeview to Brookwood to Vance to Duncanville. I sat beside a guy. I was in Vance last night. Not Vance. I was in Zion last night. Sat beside a guy that lives in Duncanville. And it was a very friendly and cordial conversation that led to improving our Duncanville strategy. So I'm grateful, I'm thankful. The folks that are integral to the campaign are extremely grateful and thankful as well. And that's all that we have. We'll push out the dates of events when we need to. I'll be canvassing and knocking on doors. We're reinforcing signs. If you see signs down in wherever it is that you're at, think they need maintenance or repair. Thank you for those that have let us know. But please Let us know if there are places that you think we need to put out signs at, let us know. We are we are really, really, really excited. We're working hard and we're grateful again for the support. If you don't have merchandise, if you don't have campaign signs, we would reach out to us. We're more than happy that if you can't afford any of those things that are on our website, you can go to www.electjodyminor.com. That will take you to our merchandise page. If you want to know about more about our campaign, you can go there as well. And I think that that's all that I have. I'll again open up the floor to see if there are any questions, comments, feedback. Thank you for those that joined in live. Miss Harris, I think you just had a birthday, if I'm not mistaken. If so, happy belated birthday to you. Thank you, Mr. Edwards, for dialing in. Jennifer is always grateful for your willingness to be an essential member of critiquing our campaign. So that's it. That's all that we have. I am excited about where we're headed. I look forward to seeing you all on the campaign trail. And please do reach out. We're personable. If I'm not in your area, it's not because I don't want to be, it's because you haven't invited me to come or it's on the schedule of coming. I love each and every one of you all, and I look forward to seeing you all out on the campaign trail.